back nine coverage of the Women's Open of Pennsylvania's final round. We are heading into hole 10 here, and boy, is it interesting. Coverage today is brought to you by Emily Dale, and joining me in the booth, the one and only Kayla Hess.
Yeah, we got a lot of difficult par fours here on this back nine coming down the final stretch. Should be interesting. The lead has been cut down to 4, so we should see if anyone makes a push here.
So hole 10 is brought to us by our presenting sponsor, Home Again Disc Golf. It is a par 3, 170 feet. It is short but mighty, so this one features that picturesque creek and stone wall, but that is a stone wall that you do not want to be in front of.
Yeah, any kick off those trees to the left there, and you can be right in the out of bounds creek. But luckily, Naya stays far away from that. Maybe not as far up as she would have wanted, but still nice.
I like the height on this one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And
the
that
tree
even
cut
helped it.
back.
Yeah, beautiful shot there by Lori.
This is looking good as well. It does get caught up a little bit there from the guardian trees, but she should still have a look at the basket. Molly's shot got turned over, and that looked like it might have kicked her down at the base of that stone wall. But she's back far enough that she should have a decent shot up into the green.
Beautiful upshot there by Molly. Puts it right up and nestled by the basket. Maybe a little short on Naya's approach, but she still should have a nice putt.
Oh no! It
Thought
looked
she
beautiful.
had it. Almost puts in the birdie there. Naya puts in her par. As does
Hard to trust the basket after it's put out like that, but great recovery there.
And Lori puts in the only birdie in the FPO field on hole 10 of the round. So
wow.
Good job to her. And Molly cleans up her par.
Hole 11 is a par 3. Players are playing to the orange pin position across the creek. 247 feet, the creek is OB, and the pathway across is OB as well. Thank you to Watts Disc Golf Club for sponsoring this hole. The shot looks great. If it can get enough height.
Unfortunately, that will be out of bounds in the creek there.
I do like the forehand play on this hole. If it can curl up in time. Oh.
Yeah, this hole's a tricky one. It's not very long, but judging that distance and height, because you don't want to be out of bounds long, but you don't want to be out of bounds short either. Nikki turns over a bit much, unfortunately catches a tree and knocks into the out of bounds. Molly going forehand here. That needs to sit. Unfortunately, she will be out of bounds as well.
So it looks like all of our card has found OB on their first shot here. We'll have 2 from the near side of the creek and 2 from the far side of the creek.
I wanted to hit that one.
Good upshot there. It stood up, but thankfully it caught the steps there and sat down before it could get frisky with the creek. Molly does give it a nice run, comes up short, but she should have a tap in for her bogey save.
Lori just misses her putt there.
Yeah.
While 11 might not be the longest hole, it did play as our second hardest hole of the day, which I at least find surprising. Oh, did that? Oh
No.
no. Fortunately, Nikki goes out of bounds, but is able to put in her putt for the triple bogey.
Oh, it's so disheartening. This creek found a lot of players this tournament.
Mm, yeah. Luckily, it doesn't come into play on too many holes, but I believe it should be a factor in the next one as well.
So all our players there taking bogey or worse. Headed into hole 12, it is a par 4, 550 feet, sponsored by the wonderful Mid-Penns Women's Disc Golf Club. Players are going to play to the orange position, which will be playing on the right-hand side of this creek, whereas the shorter pin position does cross the creek and play on the left side.
Naya going forehand here.
Perfect.
You can see a turnover. There was quite a bit of a headwind on this hole. So you can see the disc turnover, but thankfully she did stay safe there.
Molly also going forehand.
Great distance there.
Ooh. Lori maybe leaves this one a little high. Gets a nice tap off the branch though, and she'll be a good ways up the fairway.
Yep, call it a fairway hit. She'll be center cut and should have a good position for her next shot.
Nikki looks like she put a lot of power into this one. Might be behind that tree, but she should be able to get around it for her second shot.
Oh, right into the water.
Oh,
And there's that creek again. Naya turned over her forehand a little bit, but she at least got some distance up the fairway where she can proceed. Nikki opting for the backhand with some weird footing to try not to hit the tree with a great shot.
Thanks.
Lori throwing a great shot up the fairway here, making great distance. Almost pin high for her second shot.
Molly on her second shot. Oof. Gets a kick off the tree that might have helped a bit. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it sounded like she didn't like it out of her hand, but it ended up pretty decent. Naya throwing her fourth shot from OB. She'll have to do some work to save her bogey there.
Ooh. Molly looked like she was giving a little bit of a run there, but she'll be right there for her par, I believe.
Probably a favorable tree kick there, put her in a good position. And Lori knew right out of the hand.
Ooh. And Naya gives it a long bid, but unfortunately leaves it a little wide. As Nikki puts in her par. And Lori does the same.
Unfortunate double bogey there with the out of bounds strokes there for Naya. You see this becoming a race for second place now as players head into hole 13. Hole 13 is a par 4. Again, our FPO field is going to the orange basket on this hole. 338 feet, but once again, we do face quite a bit of elevation gain on this hole. will be up first. She's going high, but looks like it got caught up and stayed safe.
Lori, you've seen her throw this disc a lot throughout the tournament. Puts a good move on that, gets caught by a tree at the end, but still good progress up that hill and up the fairway.
Yeah, getting up to the top of that hill is the primary shot for hole, or for your first shot is where you want to be. That'll give you a look into the pin, into the green, and that was a great shot there from Nikki.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just me, but from the tee pad, this hill and holes, especially playing to orange, seems like it goes on forever.
It is very daunting. You put a lot of power in and you feel like you're going nowhere, but these players are making nice work of it. Molly taking her second shot after getting caught up early. Still puts her in a position where she will be able to play for par though. Looks like she came down a little short there. But we've seen her putting prowess. I'm sure she can get a birdie there. Lori making it to the top of the hill, getting snagged by a tree.
Nikki coming with a bit of steam here. She'll be a bit to the left of basket, but she'll probably have a long look.
Yep, but we do have the OB pathway that does run behind this basket, so we'll have to see if she gives it a run. A little bit further back than I had initially thought, but she'll have an easy tap in there now.
I like going with a forehand approach. Puts it nice right by the basket. Should have a pretty easy putt.
I like the height. Beautiful run.
Yeah, run had to have been scary with the OB path, but as we see Nikki not even wanting to mess with it, just lays up for her par.
Molly does take a bogey there after that unfortunate kick, as the rest of our players do clean up some pars. Hole 14, sponsored by Elevation Disc Golf. It's a par 4, 473. This one is a doozy. You can take whatever route you like. It does seem like taking the turnover or forehand route that puts you on the right side of the fairway does have a more open look into the green, but with the way that the hill is angled, you'll see a lot of players' shots get sucked down the hill onto the left-hand side of the fairway. Lori opting for the turnover.
Oh, it was so close.
But you can see how that fade carries her downhill.
Yeah, this is a hole with another tricky backhand. Discs can get carried down to the left, even with a little bit of fade. Nikki hits an early tree there, but has a smile on her face.
Throwing up the touchdown arms. Good shot there from Nia. It looks like she is trying to get to that right-hand side of the fairway. Molly is taking the straighter route.
Woo, look at that go.
With a great shot there.
That's better. Still falling left.
Eric mentioning that was a better shot, which it was. It looked to get some good distance down the fairway. Thank you to Eric, Kayla's dad, for all the help that he put into this tournament and for following our FPO lead card as well today. And for donating his coat to Kayla.
Yes, made it a lot more enjoyable to stand at Tournament Central.
So Molly had great distance for her first drive. You can see she does get up into circle 2 for a birdie look. Some frustration there from Lori, as it seems like she had an early release.
Oh,
Hands are getting cold at this point in the round. There were some backups, so it was difficult to stay warm and get that release angle correct. As we see Naya put a sneaking out of bounds there.
Very unfortunate. I'll see Nikki trying to get close to the basket here. And looks like she does just that. Nice shot by her. Or you'll have a bit of a longer look, but still a nice upshot.
Yeah, she played this hole really well. She'll have just a short downhill putt for par. Naya sails. Her comeback are a little bit long.
And Lori puts that in for her par. Nice putt there, especially with the OB behind and putting downhill.
Yep. Lori definitely has some fearless putting, and I think that's what's gotten her in such a great position here in this tournament.
As Nikki taps in her bogey. And Naya puts in her double.
Alrighty, hole 15 is a par 4, 530 feet to the orange basket, sponsored by Jesse Comer. So this was a hole where we did have a headwind for players, and we do have the OB there that is going to be on the right-hand side of the fairway for players. So this was a scary tee shot because there is a nice turnover play up for your first shot, but that was risky with the headwind. Lori demonstrating some good control. You can hear her ask if there's out of bounds. The pathway does loop around this hole, but she's safe where she landed. Molly getting off the tee well again as well, putting her in a good position for her second shot. Looks like a little bit of a slip there for Nikki, and she throws it a little bit low, but she does stay in the center of the fairway there. I think Naya may have gone a little bit more stable than she may have liked and did get caught up in those branches, but she did stay safe.
Looks like Nikki released that one a little low out of her hand. Still made some distance up though.
Naya with a beautiful forehand. This is a scary green, so getting as much distance as you can and getting close is definitely advantageous for players.
And this looks to have turned over, but seems to have come back and sit pretty nicely.
Yep. We have an elevated pin on a sloping green, so a lot can go wrong. The shot here looks good from Lori. If I can get down a little bit, she'll be looking down towards the pin there for her third shot.
Yeah. These sloping greens have been a theme all weekend, so it's been really interesting to see how these ladies have tackled and whether they've decided to lay up or run their putts, because it's definitely a gamble on some of them.
You see these players really demonstrating a lot of versatility, switching from forehand to backhand, and hyzering, just trying to work the disc and get a read. So Lori does go a little bit long. She'll have a uphill comebacker as Molly looks to try to play this one as close to the basket as she can get.
You want me to go for it?
Always go for it, Nikki.
I hit the first step.
Love seeing the energy on these cards. Everybody's having a great time.
Lori opts to just lay that one up.
And this is a time where the cards started to collect a little bit more of a gallery. So at this point, almost all of the other cards have finished their round, and a lot of the players were coming up to follow along lead card to watch them close out their round. So might add a little bit of nerves to the players here today who aren't used to having as big of a crowd following them.
That's for four? I thought you crushed it out of bounds, actually.
I did too. I was so surprised.
All right, hole 16, sponsored by Jonathan Hansen. Playing to the orange position, this is a par 4, 499 feet. We do have a Mando on the right-hand side off the tee. Players will opt for a turnover shot to land right about where the drone is. That'll put them in a great second position to pitch up into the green to hopefully snag that birdie.
We'll see Molly taking the tee box here first, opting to go backhand. Seems to get a good release on this one, and a nice forward skip and a bit of a roll. That'll put her in a great position.
Yeah, that'll be perfect spot to have a second shot.
Lori with a little bit more hyzer on hers also gets a roll, but luckily curls up before it can head down towards the road.
This is one of those gaps off the tee that can really get in your head if you think about it too much.
Definitely. Let's see.
Naya staying on the upper end of that hill a little bit, so she'll have a few trees to contend with as she takes her approach into the basket. Looks like she should have a long look there from where she landed.
Oh. Nikki gets an unfortunate tree kick there, but looks to not have put her in too bad of a spot.
Lori looking like she's in a really good position here for a hyzer into the basket. Anytime you're landing anywhere around where the short pin position is, it's a pretty good shot for heading into the orange basket.
I just got a nice skip there. She'll be right by the pin. As we see Molly, a nice hyzer into the green, and that is a beautiful approach. She'll be parked right there for her birdie. Nikki putting a nice shot up there right by that tree next to the basket.
The leaves are demonstrating the swirliness of the wind nicely here. That's, I think, contributed to some of the challenges players have faced on this final round, trying to navigate what their disc will do on the green and on their drives.
Lori leaves her putt a little low, but luckily sat right there. As Naya puts in her par. as does Nikki.
We see quite a tight race here for our second place. We do have some folks sneaking up from the chase card as well, so this is going to be an important couple of holes here.
Yeah, Molly with a great birdie there. 16 is not an easy one, and Lori puts in that par.
Hole 17 is a par 3, 297 feet. Thank you to Gary Smith for sponsoring this hole. Players can opt for kind of whatever route they're most comfortable with. You see a lot of long pushing Anheuser shots here or forehand shots. This looks a little bit wide, but does catch nicely, and that gives her an open look from that side. It would be longer of a putt, but should be clear.
Lori going backhand turnover. Maybe turned it over a little bit. Kind of gets caught up by those trees and leaves, but
This looks like it's a little low, similar to Lori's shot, but does get a kick back into the fairway.
Naya with her forehand, maybe a little low out of the hand, but still up there in the fairway.
Missed that last tree. Great shot there.
Yeah. Naya with a nice forehand approach there. She's been throwing those pretty well all weekend.
Lori move into a patent pending here, which she's very comfortable with, but she does turn that one over a little bit much. We'll give her a long par save. Oh, that was brutal.
Yeah, unfortunate spit out there. Nikki leaves her putt a little low, just hits the cage. And as we see, the card should be cleaning up their tap-ins.
Quite the exciting event as we head into the last hole of this 3-round event. So, hole 18 is a par 4, just under 500 feet. There is OB that does come into play on the left-hand side, and I think these ladies are excited to wrap things up on this beautiful hole 18.
Yeah, one of the very iconic holes here at Klein's. Like you mentioned, that path on the left side goes the whole way down, so not only is it a threat on the tee shot, but on their approaches and other shots throughout the hole, it can be...
And Molly pumps this one way down the fairway. That's a huge shot. Beautiful first throw. This looks like it stayed safe. It was sneaking towards that OB, but I think she got caught up by a tree, which was probably a very good tree.
Lori going forehand, probably to avoid that OB on the left. It leaves a little high. She'll have some interesting footing to deal with on her second, but good forward progress down the fairway.
The shot looks great here. You hear everybody loving it. That was a beautiful shot there from Nikki. Like Naya did check up right before that OB. Good forehand shot there. Should be able to hopefully get up and down for her par. Lori with that awkward footing as we see her go back to the forehand again from possibly inside of a tree.
Nice pitch out there. All she really needed to do on that one.
Yeah, she is leading this with quite a few strokes to spare, so no need to get too crazy as we see a great shot there from Molly, parking it for a birdie.
Yeah, great drive, great approach.
She threw this hole to perfection. This looks like a little high, but that should give her a look as well. 3 forehands in a row from our leader.
And she pushes that one a little long, so she'll have a long comebacker, but luckily didn't go OB or anything.
Naya showing her control with her forehand approach. Let's try to save her par. We see Lori go to putt for her comebacker for par save. Coming up just a bit short, but she'll have a tap in there. Wow.
Just a little too high. Nikki leaves that one a little wide to the right, but sits down right next to the basket.
What a great birdie there from Molly as that solidifies a second place for her.
Yeah, great birdie on 18. Only one of the FPO field. Played the hole beautifully.
Really big comeback here.
Lori!
Ladies and gentlemen, your 2022 Women's Open of Pennsylvania Open champion, Lori Merriman! Thank you. All right. Quick shout out, thanks to the tournament directors for all your hard work. It was a lovely time. Both courses were great. Thank you to my card mates. We had a good time all weekend. Thank you to Innova Discs and Chains or Die and Keystone Disc Golf for allowing me to continue on. And thanks to all of you for coming out.
Huge congratulations there. Lori just played amazing all weekend. She finishes up her tournament at -5. Molly making a comeback for second place. Also, I just want to give a shout out to Maggie Sassman for the hot round. She came in blind and shot even on this course, which is amazing. Eden and Molly both shooting +2 with very respectable rounds here on our orange layout.
Yeah, and what a weekend it was. I appreciate all the players for coming out and playing so well. I do have a bunch of thank yous to give out. First of all, to all of our tournament staff. I really could not have done it without any of you. It was really a team effort. Anyone that donated things, all of our sponsors, spotters, players mainly for just coming out and playing the event, and I hope to see all your familiar faces next year.
Thank you guys for joining. Like and subscribe.